Welcome to SoCalTech Interviews, where we talk to the startup entrepreneurs, investors, and others in Southern California's technology industry. Today we talk with Aaron Ross, the co-CEO of Predictable Revenue. I'm Ben Kuo, founder and editor of SoCalTech.com. And what is PredictableRevenue.com?
So we're the outbound success company. We help companies, really B2B companies, technology services, grow faster through creating predictable appointments, which can lead to predictable revenue.
And how do you do that?
Two ways. So if a company wants to build their own team, typically of outbound prospectors, often called SDRs, sales development reps, we can show them how to do that, how to build or fix a team. Or if they don't want to build their team yet, they want to keep it simple, they can outsource that to us. We can handle it for them until they're ready to take it internally.
So what's the hardest part about creating predictable revenue?
I think for entrepreneurs, one of the hardest parts is being impatient, and for especially early stage companies wanting to grow and not understanding a lot of times early companies aren't ready to grow faster. They still have homework to do, foundations to do, whether you call it product market fit, you call it nailing a niche, whether understanding their messaging technology. They want to grow faster, they're not ready. So I think that impatience is a big hurdle.
So you've been doing this for a little bit. What is the biggest lesson you've learned over the years about making a company successful?
I've been doing outbound sales for 15 years. Like, I created the whole system at Salesforce.com and worked with a lot of companies since then. I think ultimately, I would say it's not about, and trust me, I teach lots of tactics and techniques. So there's two books that are popular, Predictable Revenue and From Impossible to Inevitable. But one of the parts of the second book, the From Impossible to Inevitable book, I can even say it, Inevitable book, I'm proud of, is this section called Do the Time. And the painful truth of that section is that it's going to take years longer than you want. So I think for a lot of entrepreneurs that by nature should be impatient, or at least urgent, and they see all the problems they want to solve, sometimes it's hard to realize we're surrounded by all these stories of fast success that are, it's like this reality distortion field. And it's the old cliche of it's the overnight successes that take 10 years to incubate. And that's really the boring grind of like plugging away day after day, getting your team together, your product together, your messaging together, your sales team together. It's just like a lot of little things that can seem boring, that seem to take a long time, but that's really the best route to success most people go through, that long, boring journey.
So talk about Salesforce. I guess maybe people don't realize your background. Talk a little about your background there.
Yeah, well, I started Salesforce.com in 2002. It's about 150 people, 25 billion in revenue. Now they're 20,000, 30,000 people and 15 billion. So actually, I started early, but not early enough. I still have to make money, and I have a lot of bills. So I've got 9 children, going on 10 or 11. But it was a great time. Salesforce is a unique company. They got everything right, and I think I was really good. The thing that I tell a lot of entrepreneurs is the reason I went to Salesforce, I think, is more interesting. I went there because I'd started a company called Lease Exchange that failed. We raised a few million in funding. Went out of business in 2001, and one of the reasons it went out of business is because I, as CEO, didn't understand sales and how to build and manage a sales team. I hired a VP of sales, but I'd say I abdicated my understanding. I didn't delegate, and so when revenue wasn't coming in, I had no clue how to fix it. So I went to Salesforce.com to do sales, to learn sales, to be in the trenches, and all they had was the most junior opening. From being, internet CEO of a venture-funded company to the lowest man on the totem pole answering the 800 line at Salesforce. Again, when Salesforce was small, and I think it's just hard to overstate the value of doing sales yourself, to know how it works, really doing anything yourself first, to understand the ins and outs and being in the trenches, doing the dirty work yourself. For some of you, that's coding, for some it's sales, so that when it's time to grow or fix it or build it, you actually know something about it, and you're not dependent on other people. Because look, if I try to hire a coder, I haven't coded for 20 years. probably 30 years since high school. I have no idea how to do it. So when you're an entrepreneur and you haven't sold before, when you sell your product yourself, or you're part of that sales for this first 10 or 20 sales, you start to pick up enough information and experience to at least know some sense of who would you hire, what would you do, what would they do. So you're not, I would say, helpless. Because so many founders don't really know how to kind of build a professional sales process. And that's why so many VPs of sales don't work out, they fail. So many it's just incredible how often building a sales team fails for entrepreneurs. So it's like, do the dirty work yourself. Embrace sales. It's going to be so powerful for a business. Learn it, and that will give you so much power and influence and knowledge on how to make money with your company, which is kind of the lifeblood, right?
So it sounds like it was well worth your time starting from the bottom at Salesforce.
It was hard, but yeah, it was well worth it. It paid off in the end, even though it was definitely a grind for quite a while in the trenches. It was probably about a year and 15 months, about 15 months, like truly in the trenches, like answering the phone, sending all the emails myself, and before I started to be able to kind of get the green light to build the team around what I was doing. And then it got to be more interesting, and yet still a bit of a grind. But I guess the way I describe it is, like, where can you get paid to learn? You can only read, reading about something only takes you so far. You got to do it. So I went to Salesforce to get paid to learn how to sell and how to build a sales team.